What kind of billionaire lives in a mansion and hides a secret crime-fighting base underneath it? Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. But let's be honest, what really makes him legendary isn't just the cape and gadgets, it's the Batcave. Tucked deep beneath Wayne Manor, the Batcave is part command center, part science lab, part trophy room, and a whole lot of awesome. It's where Batman monitors Gotham, plans missions, and fixes up the Batmobile after a night of chasing Joker across rooftops. Think of it as the superhero version of a Swiss Army knife, but hidden in a cave with bats. You know the coolest part? It's not just high-tech, it's personal. The Batcave houses memorabilia like a giant penny, a robotic dinosaur, and even the suits of fallen allies like Robin. It's a living museum of Batman's greatest wins and worst losses, all wrapped in shadows and flickering computer screens. Originally, the Batcave started as just a secret closet in the comics, but as Batman's world grew darker and more complex, so did his lair. In movies and shows, it evolved into a high-tech base packed with AI systems, medical labs, and even escape tunnels. Basically, it's the nerve center of the Batman legend. Because when you're taking on Gotham's worst every night, you need more than just muscles and a mask. You need the Batcave. Can you really be the Dark Knight without it? I doubt it. Suppose you wanted to rule the galaxy with fear. Would you build a massive army? An unstoppable fleet? Nope. The Empire went straight for a moon-sized battle station that can blow up planets. Introducing the Death Star, basically a floating death machine with a laser beam and an attitude. At first glance, it looks like a giant space golf ball with a weird dent. But that dent? It's a super laser cannon capable of turning entire planets into space dust. Isn't that insane? One button press and boom, no more Alderaan. Inside, it's not just military gear and stormtroopers. The Death Star is a full-blown city in space. We're talking hangars, detention cells, tractor beams, cafeterias, and Darth Vader's personal meditation pod. Around 1.7 million people lived and worked there. Isn't that wild? People commuted to work on a planet killer. But here's the ultimate plot twist. The galaxy's most feared weapon had a tiny, overlooked flaw, a thermal exhaust port. And some scrappy rebels used it to blow the whole thing up with a couple of torpedoes. Talk about an expensive oops. And because one wasn't enough, the Empire tried again with Death Star 2. Bigger, badder, still flawed. So yeah, the Death Star is the ultimate symbol of power, fear, and over-engineering. Who builds a doomsday moon with a self-destruct button? Apparently, the Empire. Suppose your boarding school had secret tunnels, combat simulators, and a jet hidden under a basketball court. Sounds like a video game, right? Welcome to Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, also known as the X-Mansion, home of the X-Men. From the outside, it's all ivy-covered walls and old money charm, your classic New York estate, but underneath the polished floors and fancy staircases is a full-blown superhero HQ. Isn't that crazy? Kids are learning algebra upstairs while mutants train to fight Magneto in a room that can throw fireballs at them downstairs. The X-Mansion is a genius disguise, a peaceful school that secretly houses the most powerful mutants on Earth. There's the Cerebro Chamber, where Professor X can literally scan the minds of everyone on the planet. There's the Danger Room, which is basically a deadly holographic gym. And don't forget the underground hangar with the Blackbird jet, ready for missions at a moment's notice. But it's not all high-tech wizardry. The heart of the X-Mansion is a community. It's a place where outcasts find family, where powers aren't feared, but trained. Still, it gets blown up. A lot. Rebuilt, then blown up again, and rebuilt again. A school that teaches teleportation, mind reading, and survival against killer robots? Yeah, Hogwarts has nothing on this place. What do you do when you're Superman, an alien, an icon, and probably the loneliest guy on Earth, and you need a break from saving the world? Well, you fly to the Fortress of Solitude, obviously. Tucked away in the icy isolation of the Arctic, this place is Superman's secret hideout, lab, library, museum, and therapy cave all in one. It's where he stores Kryptonian tech, chats with holograms of his space parents, and contemplates how weird Earth can be. Isn't that wild? The strongest man alive still needs a quiet place to think. From the outside, it's usually a giant crystal palace jutting out of the frozen ground like it was grown instead of built. Inside, pure sci-fi fantasy. There are alien creatures in suspended animation, a supercomputer with the knowledge of an extinct planet, and keys so massive, only Superman can fit them. And how does he build it? Depending on the version, he either throws a Kryptonian crystal into the snow and lets it grow like magic, or assembles it using tech no human understands. Like, you're telling me this guy 3D printed an entire fortress using space crystals? But despite all its high-tech glory, the name says it all. Solitude. It's not a party palace, it's where Superman goes to feel close to Krypton, and maybe just to be Clark for a while. Coolest man cave ever, or the loneliest place on Earth? Maybe both. What do you get when you mix a spy agency with a giant aircraft carrier and then make it fly? You get the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier, a massive, floating base that screams power, secrecy, and just a little bit of don't mess with us. Operated by the Marvel Universe's top spy organization, this thing isn't just a ship. It's an airborne headquarters with labs, weapons, hangars, and enough screens to rival a Best Buy. It's where Nick Fury gives his iconic speeches, where Avengers get briefed, and where world-ending threats are tracked and stopped before breakfast. From the outside, it looks like a regular battleship until you notice the giant turbine engines keeping it airborne. Inside, it's a high-tech maze of control rooms, prison cells, and intel centers. Basically, it's the Pentagon, if the Pentagon could fly and disappear from radar. But here's the twist. For all its glory, the Helicarrier tends to crash. A lot. Whether it's Loki, Hydra, or Ultron causing chaos, the poor Helicarrier gets shot down like it's cursed. Still, it always comes back, because in the Marvel world, nothing says we're watching you like a city-sized ship floating over your head. It's flashy, it's powerful, and it's somehow both unstoppable and always falling apart. Classic Marvel. Villains usually go for dark castles or volcano islands, but Gru? He set up his evil lair in the middle of the suburbs. Yup, right next to your average white picket fences sits a high-tech underground lab filled with rocket ships, freeze rays, and hundreds of banana-obsessed minions. From the outside, his house looks like it belongs to a creepy dentist. But take the elevator down, and it's an entire evil empire, complete with gadget factories, training zones, launch pads, and labs that would make Elon Musk jealous. What makes it even more absurd is how Gru runs global-level heists, like stealing the moon from his basement. Most people store old bikes down there. Gru stores shrink rays and plans for world domination. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without the minions. Those tiny, chaotic yellow beans who handle everything from building weapons to blowing things up for fun. Imagine trusting an army of gibberish-speaking chaos gremlins with nuclear tech. That's either genius or completely insane. Even after Gru turns to the good side, the Lair stays. Because let's face it, once you have a rocket launcher under your kitchen, there's no going back to regular life. So yeah, it's technically an evil Lair, but it's also kind of a dream setup. Suburban villainy has never looked so stylish. Imagine you're a teenager with homework due, and suddenly, you're chosen to fight alien monsters using giant robots and color-coded suits. Where do you even start? Easy, you just head to the command center. Perched in the California desert like some mystical UFO garage, the command center is the Power Rangers' base of operations. On the outside, it looks like a top-secret NASA building or maybe even a giant lava lamp. But step inside and boom, you're in a glowing sci-fi control room with floating holograms, blinking panels, and a giant head in a tube named Zordon. Isn't that crazy? Your mentor is literally just a giant floating head, and your guide is Alpha 5, a hyper-reactive robot with anxiety and catchphrases. Somehow, this team runs a tight operation. The command center is where Rangers get their powers, morph into heroes, and receive battle updates. It's also the vault for every power coin, Zord blueprint, and forgotten season of the show. When it gets destroyed, it's usually rebuilt as something even weirder, like the power chamber or a space station. This place is the ultimate mix of magic and motherboard. It's like if Hogwarts and Star Trek had a baby and then handed it over to 5 high schoolers. Wouldn't it be wild if your after-school club meant at a glowing alien fortress? What if your apartment building doubled as a science lab, a spaceport, and a battle zone for alien invasions, and you still had to deal with elevator maintenance? Welcome to the Baxter building, home of the Fantastic Four. At first glance, it looks like your average 35-story Manhattan skyscraper. But go a little higher, specifically the top 5 floors, and you'll find the headquarters of Marvel's first family of superheroes. Isn't that crazy? A full-blown interdimensional lab sitting right above a bunch of regular office workers just trying to make it to lunch. The Baxter building is part home, part lab, part chaos magnet. It's where Reed Richards runs experiments that usually involve portals, time travel, or things that shouldn't be poked. Sue Storm can turn invisible at the dinner table, Johnny Storm occasionally sets the couch on fire, and Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, probably broke another door frame just walking through. But the wildest part? The building is basically a character in itself. Over the years, it's been destroyed, rebuilt, turned into a rocket, and even teleported to other dimensions. It has its own defense systems, secret elevators, and more sci-fi tech than Stark Tower. It's like if NASA, MIT, and Area 51 decided to become roommates and then had to fight Dr. Doom every Tuesday. Who needs peace and quiet when your address is the most explosive one in New York? If you could take over any of these bases, which would it be? Let us know in the comments below, and hit subscribe for more incredible places from Fiction Explained.